nothing. Darkness everywhere, no sounds at all. Lack of realization, a complete emptiness. This is the time for body to rest, for mind to remain clear, for one to sleep. No thoughts are being created, no memories are remembered, only void in his mind, or his mind in the void. Is this the true feeling of sleep? Lack of it? There is not even a possibility to think about this idea. And then, for a short moment, a white noise. After a few seconds of its presence, the sage opens his eyes. Ready as always, looks around as if he just sat down and never fell asleep. Nothing new for him to see, but he knows very well why he should have returned to his consciousness. He stares into the empty corridor before him for who knows how long, as the flaming skull flies through it.
Oh, great! You're awake! I have some good news for you. It seems there is nothing dangerous ahead. But there's also nothing interesting, to be honest. Want to check it out for yourself?
Always.
Guessed so. The path is straight. Lead the way.
Both in mutual understanding went ahead. The sage makes slow and precise steps so he can focus on his surroundings. In contrast to him, the skull flies all around, high and low, through the rooms and hallways, roams chaotically in circles, for it does not want to wait in one place for the slow-moving sage. For the most part, what the skull said seems true. But not exactly. The sage finds clues of traps being here, most of them still hidden, but not all of them. They were deactivated by someone. There are signs of some kind of human presence all around, but only from this point forward. While those subtle traces seems impossible to see for human eyes, the sage is able to find them. Whoever left them wanted his presence to remain unseen. After going much further, the skull flew away around the corner, ahead as always. The sage, on the other hand, stayed just before it, for he saw a mural, unknown figures and markings. The skull, after not seeing the sage for a while, came back to find him hypnotized, staring at the wall.
Are you going?
The sage doesn't react, and so the skull now looks at the wall, then at the sage, and so on.
What are you looking at? It's just a wall.
It's a fresco, but first carved into the stone. Such as this one we're seeing through this whole temple, but this is the first one to be untouched. Every single one was destroyed. This is not. I wonder why.
Does it matter? It's boring. It shows nothing.
The skull is right. The art shows many people, but their visage is vague. The items they hold, the clothes they wear, and the actions they take all bring nothing interesting, as if it was just a background for this place. Otherwise, that's a really well-made piece of art. The sage thinks the same, but for different reasons. For example, he sees the same signs of presence he discovered around the traps before. He comes closer to the wall, wants to feel it. You're right, it shows nothing.
Are you just gonna keep touching this wall? It's not that touching the carved door will do something.
And then the sage realizes. There's a small door on the fresco carved around many other elements. It blends really well, and even people presented on it seem not to notice it. Or they just completely ignore it. For Sage, something else seems off. It doesn't make sense for the priest to see this small detail. He either is much more intelligent than he shows, or just knew about it. His tone is always the same, but these words felt as mocking? It might be just Sage's paranoia. It was so long since he could interact with another thinking being. Still, I don't really like that it shows nothing. While my eyes can't see it and my hands can't feel it, mind is the key. It is able to see what is unseen and feel what could not exist. You know it too. When this key takes a fitting shape, we must create the real key from this mold made of thoughts. Thank you, priest. The sage takes a scroll attached to his belt, opens it and puts a small piece of glass to his eye. As he reads the scroll, it shines, and after a few seconds, boom! A loud knock of cracking stone echoes far back through the temple. At the same time, the scroll loses its bright and turns to ash in the sage's hand. The skull at first tries to jump, trying to pretend being shocked.
What? What was that for? Did you try to make my ears bleed with that?
The sage then sees a shift in the wall as he hears a moving stone. Then a perfect illusion disappears, revealing the wall, which already started moving. Split in half, opens a stairway leading deeper into the mountain. Come, priest. Stay vigilant. There is probably someone down there.
Huh? Oh, right. Anyway, have you ever wondered how I can hear you? Or hear anything at all? I mean, I have no ears, I have no eyes, just a bone and some flames. It doesn't make sense.
The sage already entered the dark entrance and lit one of his torches before leading forward. And so the skull rushed after him, keeping his pace and still asking about this weird phenomenon of having senses of a living being. Step by step, the sage walks the spiral staircase, staying close to the outer wall. They reach the end and see a different light, the big entrance at the bottom. It is open. The sage slowly peeks through the door, and in the middle of the chamber stands a man, looking at him, waiting. He wears a high-quality long white robe with golden, glittering stripes around the edges. Other than that, no markings on him. Weird. His short blonde hair, a calm smile and, pointy ears. He's an elf. In the end, the sage isn't satisfied with the information he has from first glance, and so he comes forward, since the man already saw him. As he does so, the skull does the same, and the man opens his arms at the sage. So it is true. Welcome, my brother, to our sanctuary. We were awaiting your coming. As the man speaks to him, the sage slows down and looks around this giant chamber. The walls, the floor, everything is different from the temple above. And finally, the markings. All around here are symbols which the sage finally recognizes. Many variations of a burning eye drawn within a simple triangle. Some of these symbols are quite old, others he has never seen. But all of them, he's sure of it, link to one god of present times. Then why are those symbols here? It should be an ancient, forgotten temple. What is this place? Is this some kind of a grand temple of Ming? Why is it hidden? Are you his worshipper? Who isn't? But no, not in a sense you think of. I was simply called by his name to this very place. You know of the voice I speak. Oh, and your company. Such a sight to...
Ah! Don't mind me. I'm here just to help him find what he looks for. Just ignore me, focus on him.
As you wish. So, brother, what is your name? Venitus. Would you mind explaining what is this all about? Venitus, my name is Renival. I was assigned to welcome you in the name of us all. He makes a standing bow towards the sage, putting his right hand on the chest. My words won't be enough. Instead, come, let me show you all what you came for. The man puts his hands around the back and goes towards one of the entrances to the side. All of us were seeking the very same thing. Answers. The sage, unsure at first, looks questionably at the skull who visibly wants to stay behind. But the sage decides to go with the man. As he does so, the door behind him closes on itself. The man walks side by side with the sage and shows him around the whole place. The bedrooms, baths, saunas, and much more. The temple seems like a rich king's palace turned into a monastery for monks. Many others walk around, dressed the same as the man. Everyone is calm, and silence is the most present sound here. A constant stream of water hitting the stone makes it all feel even more relaxing. As the sage is shown around, during their stroll many questions are asked, and the man answers every single one of them. At last, most has been seen, and now they walk through a weirdly long corridor. I get it. You told me much. All of you came seeking for knowledge of our world and answers for the most complex of questions. Not everyone here lived for centuries, but that's the most common sort. And out of 50 people here, most of you are elves. Sadly, not a single one of my kind. You never leave this place, other than to deactivate the traps in the temple above. But there are still questions you avoided. Tell me, why? There are no deep thoughts into it. It wasn't time yet, that's all. Now, all shall be clear. We found the knowledge. It's in this temple. We do not learn about it. Not most of it, but we must protect it. We are no clerics nor monks, but we are a monastery called upon by the god of reality himself. We are to become once known as interceptors, the holy order of protectors whose sole mission is to keep the world in balance. Hold there, Renival. What role Ming has in this? That doesn't make any sense. He's just a trickster, a joke of a god who even himself corrects everyone that he's not a god. My brother, you don't know the whole story. It is true what you say. Ming is a trickster. He was able to fool the whole world and make it believe he's not so important as he is. Yet here we are, led by his guidance, we will be able to protect the line of balance. He has many names. God of Chaos, reflection of the world, God of Personality, the alternative God. The list goes on, yet in his names and his actions, I've never seen anything you are tying him to. And believe me, gods are my specialty. Doesn't that mean he's a master of his craft? It seems even you were fooled by him. The man stops, and now they both stand before a metal gate. Through it, colossal bookshelves can be seen, filled with books and scrolls. The room goes so far that there's a fog preventing to see the wall at the end of it. We are here. The knowledge, all of it. behind this very gate. Secrets of this world, every single thought that was ever made, is stored within those shelves. I'm in awe. This seems unreal. I know, it always feels like it, until you take one of these books into your own hand. Ever felt the overwhelming vastness of the universe when you look into the night sky? This library will give you the same chills. May I enter it? I'm sorry, not yet. Answer me this, brother. You've seen this place for what it is. You know of its purpose. Are you ready to stay with us? To protect the knowledge and use it when the time comes? To make the world stable and make sure it doesn't crumble under its own endless power? Are you ready to stand between gods and the existence itself, so the balance can never be one-sided? Are you ready to join us on a path of becoming interceptors, brother? I see beauty in this cause. Maybe it's the voice, maybe it's your words, or maybe it's just me. I want it. I decided to stay, know of what cannot be known, and keep it safe, to the end of the world. Believe me, brother, it was already decided. And nonetheless, by fire we stand to keep its flame. If it bursts, we make it weak. If it's dying, we make it strong. When death is rampant, we take care of life. When it only blossoms, we make it wither. Where evil prospers, we come to fight it. Where good thrives, we burn it down. Chills run through the sage's body. The words he understands, but the meaning of them. All of the sudden, he's not so sure about his decision. Then, out of nowhere, the skull appears.
Oh, I've heard the news! You're staying, great! I suppose that means I'm staying too! There's a room where you can think of anything and it becomes real! Come, I'm sure you'll like it!
Wait, before you do anything else. Brother, Ming wants to talk with you. I said my part, he will say the rest. When you're ready, come to the entering chamber. He will be awaiting you.